So my company was able to make $160,000 in a single month from this dead YouTube channel here. And the best part is that we implemented this entire thing using AI. I'm going to give you away all the prompts and the strategy we use so you can steal it and implement it into your business. The strategy that we actually use to implement this is called a micro niche YouTube channel. And the first step to actually implementing it is understanding what I like to call relative virality and conversion data. When we are posting YouTube videos to acquire clients for products that we sell online, the biggest mistake we can make with content is setting the wrong goals and having the wrong data. If views are impacting you mentally, whether you get 50 on a video or whether you get 1,000 or 50,000, you are already losing. The only metric that should be a source of truth on your entire YouTube page is the views to lead ratio. So how many people are watching your content versus how many people are becoming potential leads for your business and the product you are selling. And you also need to determine what is viral in your niche, because that can change depending on the size of the actual people you're speaking with. Because we want conversions, we have to remember everything is relative. So meaning that we could go viral in our niche, and that might mean 100 views. You could be a celebrity. And that's pretty much what happened when I started with my own business, talking about SMMA for teenagers. The virality bridge here is understanding that you don't necessarily have to be the person that is talking to the broad audience of whatever niche you're in. You don't have to be the person convincing young men to start an SMMA. You can already just start by talking about the niche that you're specifically in, and then as a result of that, pull people into the given content and the product you are selling. And that moves into the next thing, which is going to be the team and process that you actually use for implementing this. First and foremost, you have you and you have AI, and you don't need to hire anybody else at all. You can run this entire system just using that. Now, the process for actually making a YouTube video is first off ideation and packaging. This is where 20% of the work is done, that 80% of the results are actually going to come with. And this is coming up with the ideas for the videos, coming up with the titles for the videos, which I'll show you in a second. Then move into the recording section, which is pretty much the easiest part, just putting your knowledge and your skills onto an actual video recording and getting ready to share it. And then finally, we have the uploading perspective here, which is just about optimizing it for SEO and putting together all the process that you actually had here. You're not going to be using much editing just because of the style of the videos I'm going to explain to you. Now, this is all housed in Notion here. You're going to have a production board, you're going to have an education board just for learning. And pretty much within that, you're just going to have a pop-out with all the info, production status, date of post, rehash dates, and status, which means just actually learning from the videos that you are posting. Here's an example of one of my older production boards you can actually see here. I have all the videos listed. I have the stages that I'm actually going to have the video in. So that can be the idea, approved idea, packaging, structuring, recording, editing, posted, and then to be rehashed and analyzed. And within each of them, you can actually see that I have the overall actual contents of the video. So for example, on this video here, watch me build a $1 million YouTube channel using AI. I have the inspiration that I actually had for the thumbnail of the video, the final thumbnail that I actually ended up producing. You can see there's multiple variations, and then also all the prep, structuring, hook, etc. And I do this for every single video just to manage it and have it here, so I'm not just running my system at absolute random. From that point on, we're going to move on to the output and time requirements. So when you're beginning, I recommend you start at 3x weekly uploads. That's going to be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you're also going to be doing a 3x weekly rehash. So that means going back into previous videos, analyzing them, learning the mistakes from them, how you can make them better, and then also changing the thumbnail, because if the click-through rate is off, meaning that people don't like the title and the thumbnail, but the video is actually good, changing the title and thumbnail can allow the video to still get views on the algorithm. And at first, when I actually implemented this for my business over here, it took us 10 hours per week per channel to actually implement. We had 2 channels that we were running this on, and the skill improves and you can actually get it down to actually probably being done within 5 to 8 hours. Now moving into the next phase, which is actually going to be the overall flow of how you actually put this together, we first and foremost have the ideas. And I want to actually stress that ratios are the most important part of actually becoming a really great YouTuber, and it's the secret that all the guys who make the most money are actually hiding from you. Most beginners just expect to throw out one title per video or one thumbnail per video, and they pray on the YouTube algorithm after they've already recorded that it does well. And they just keep repeating this process again and again, and that is not how the calculated snipers of YouTube work. For every one idea that you actually pick, you're going to have to go through 25 ideas that actually declined, even though they might have appeared good for you. And if you can do this, you're going to only pick the best of the best ideas that are especially relevant to your channel. And the 3 ways of doing this are first and foremost just using ideas from general YouTube and your brain. I like to have a playlist on YouTube that I call Ideas, where I'm just on YouTube scrolling, watching when I'm eating food and whatnot, saving them to a playlist when I think there's a video that can do well based on an outlier score. Then we have scanning existing channels for winners. So these can be people in your niche, which is good, but the great people are going to be ones with the same audience but a different niche. So for the example of SMMA, SMMA falls under the category of what I like to call the make money online space. So other people that are in the make the online space are actually going to be like e-com, dropshipping, trading, etc. So when I was looking for videos in the SMMA space, I would go to e-com, trading, and look at the winning formats that are actually working for titles, ideas in those spaces and bring them over to my niche because they're completely unique. However, they're tested on the psychology of the exact same viewer here. And then finally, we have vidIQ, outlier keywords, and questions. And this is something I actually don't recommend you do at the start. Just focus on learning how to use YouTube and just understanding the overall space. Then from that point on, the prompting questions for yourself and AI that you're actually going to use are: do the top videos that I am actually looking at use a keyword directly of my given topic? So do they use SMMA in the title? The next one is going to be, were the top videos recently posted on a given keyword? And the final one is, can I make better packaging than the top videos here? So when you're looking and you're doing analysis on these videos that you're actually reviewing from all these spaces, the big thing that you're going to be looking for is ways you can add your own unique experience, and also how you can just generally improve them based on the feedback that you actually saw from viewers in the comment section below. And these are all the prompting questions that I actually send to AI for a given video. So is the video already a winning concept or close variation on my channel? And I'll just share AI, ChatGPT, all the information on my channel. Have I already made a video like this or similar before? And then from that point on, what are the top 5 videos on the keyword that I actually sent in, whether it be dropshipping, trading, etc.? And can I work on my channel? The next one's going to be what made their videos actually do well. So in some aspects, maybe the guy was super young sharing it. Maybe he was super experienced. Maybe he had a nice background. Maybe he had lots of proof. Maybe there was good editing. Finding out what those elements are and figuring out how you can replicate them and then also do them better. Then the next one is going to be, is this a pain-driven or question that my ideal customer actually has in their mind? And will it feed into the ecosystem of what I'm talking about? Because for example, if we're taking a video from trading, if it's a live day trading video, that might not apply to teaching people how to start a marketing agency. The next one is this the kind of person that I want to attract to book a call with me like a dog whistle over just screaming and shouting out of a megaphone? This one is extremely important. Again, going back to relative virality, the mistake that a lot of creators make is they just start out by just learning how to get attention, how to make a good YouTube video, and spamming that over and over and over again, meaning that they're going to be attracting the wrong audience, typically through a lot of fear-based videos, calling things a scam, and this is not going to attract the right person. So you might get views, but you're not actually going to make a lot of money as a result of it. Now, the next one is going to be, is this a video that I would enjoy making and pouring lots of time into an asset and structure for? Because if it is not, and if it's not a video that you'd want to go above and beyond doing, it is not even worth starting in the first place. Next one is, can I make this video completely unique to my experience? A lot of times what we'll see is we see a video that does well and we just regurgitate and just dilute the information that other people have said. And oftentimes what YouTube looks like is you're just getting information from another thing and it's just not even quality. So you want to make sure that you can allow the video to be completely unique to you. Next one, is it going to align with the core themes and angles of my channel? Does the keyword align with my unique mechanism for conversions? Would somebody who has never seen my channel before still be interested in this idea? This one is so important because we have to understand that probably 80 to 90% of the people that are actually going to end up watching our videos are never going to know who we are initially. So we have to make the video something that would appeal to someone that's a complete stranger to us. Will this trigger an emotional response in the video about a topic? The next one is going to be, is this a timeless asset that can be rehashed over time? So sometimes you can do videos that are very timely, talking about trends or things going on in the industry, but the grand majority of your videos should be timeless assets here that will always last on your channel because it will make your channel more bingeable. Next one, does it enforce my authority frame and my reputation? This is why I like to avoid negative or very fear-based videos calling out other people, because honestly, it harms your reputation and it harms the reputation of the person you're speaking about. Is this video meant to get views or is it meant to get conversions? Does it naturally progress into my flywheel VSL ecosystem? And would the viewer feel FOMO if they skip over this video? Again, the core way to create really good videos is to create some form of curiosity based on an emotion here. And if we can do this properly, it's going to equal FOMO, fear of missing out, because you wonder, well, what could this video actually be about? Can this video help me? Is this what I'm actually looking for? Is this the missing piece in my life? So then as a result, you can actually go ahead and create views. And if you can nail this process down and understand the psychology of YouTube video ideas, the rest of the process becomes easy, because as we move into titles over here, you're going to see that we actually have a 1:50 ratio. Now, you do not need to go ahead and write out 50 titles yourself. This is where AI comes in handy, and we can actually just create variations based on a few of the winners that we actually send in based on the competitor search that we do. However, again, understanding that the ratio here of having 50 titles that are really good to only pick one that is super great is actually going to be the secret to making this work. Now, from that point on, when it comes to actually coming up with this process, going to input all the competitors. We're going to use ChatGPT. We also have the ability of using YouTube softwares like CreatorHooks Pro, but again, you do not need this as a beginner. Then from that point on, when you get the actual titles from ChatGPT, you just want to do some personal copywriting refinement, make them a little bit better, because sometimes ChatGPT can just use weird words, or it's not going to be just what makes sense to your specific demographic, especially if it's like younger guys or more Zoomer language. The next one is going to be inputting your 50 favorite ones, taking a 5 to 10 minute break. This one's essential just so you can get your mind clear and not have a big bias. Then you're going to remove 45. So you're not going to be picking your 5 favorite ones and removing the rest. You want to sequentially go down the list and remove them until you only have 5 left. You're going to get success with your titles, not through picking the ones that you think are the best, all the ones you think are bad, and eventually landing on the 5 remaining ones until you can get to the internal filtering process here. Now, here is pretty much every single winning title format that you can feed to ChatGPT in order to see success. First and foremost, we have a contrarian or controversial statement. Challenge a widely held belief to create intrigue or disagreement. So this is wrong, you've thought this thing and it wasn't true. This is a very, very strong kind of way, if you're already authority in your space, if you're already getting traction on YouTube, to actually push out and just create a lot of pain, which is going to push to some form of conversion event for you. The next one is going to be the big promise / the ultimate guide. This one is one of my favorites and probably the most effective for educating your viewers. And pretty much what you want to do is you want to share, hey, here's how you get to desirable outcome without common pain. Here is how you actually get to this result in this number of steps. Here is how I went from this end result in this time frame, and pretty much just positioning your video as a complete education tutorial in order to achieve a desired result. The next one is going to be a shocking personal story / case study. I highly recommend you do this style of video. If you're still trying to establish yourself on YouTube, maybe you haven't posted videos yet, this is going to be how you establish your authority frame as an expert and get people to know, like, and trust you personally. So how I did X and got amazing result. I tried X and I got this result. I made this drastic change. Here's what I learned. And because of this, you're able to actually build authority, tell stories about your specific life. Next one is going to be fear / scarcity driven titles, pretty much leveraging the fear of missing out, losing money, or making mistakes that somebody is already doing. And you can see some examples here: the industry secret nobody's talking about, the hidden mistake that's costing you X. You're doing X, you're already losing. And pretty much what you're doing here is going to be taking the initial pain and you're going to be positioning your unique mechanism as the solution to that. Next one is going to be the listicle / cheat code format. If you're in a niche that has absolutely no competition, is the only situation I recommend doing this, where you're pretty much just saying, hey, here is 7 of X that somebody needs to know. Here's the 5 steps to do this. Here's the top 5 mistakes that you're making. And you're pretty much just going to be covering broad levels of information and not going very deep. So you're going to be focusing on covering a wide width of information and going a little bit on each topic here for however many steps that you actually have, versus picking one topic and just going super deep on it in a video here. You want to have a mix of these. But again, if your space has close to no competition and you're going to be the person creating all the information on it, it's where the actual listicle / cheat code format's going to work. Then you have curiosity driven hooks. So this one is very good if you've been and have a lot of experience in your niche, similar to the personal testimony actual one that we covered all the way up here. Pretty much what you're going to be saying is, I have done this thing and I want to share with you the lessons that I learned as a result of it. So I had a client who did a video and pretty much it was along the lines of, I quit my corporate job 12 months ago. Here's everything that I've learned. Here's what my experience has been, and it performed super well. Following this kind of curiosity driven format here, the enemy calling out a group format. This is the one that I said, honestly, you kind of want to avoid. However, it is going to be really good for getting attention. And if there's a specific situation where you actually do want to call something out, I recommend it being an object, not actually a person. This will work extremely well. And then finally, we have trend jacking or a current event title. So you want to share the truth about, the shocking truth about, is this thing actually the hype, and pretty much just talking about a current event right now and sharing your own opinions on it and what actually think of it. Some examples of this happening in recent history are things like school, things like WAP, they had lots of videos covering this kind of topic and following this format here. And a lot of people were able to get a lot of views, and as a result, kind of push their channels out to the masses by partnering something that a viewer knows. So combining the know with the unknown here, and then as a result, positioning whatever they do as a unique opportunity as a result of that there. So it's going to be you. Now, the next phase that we actually move into, going all the way back up, is going to be the thumbnails that we actually create. And again, the ratio you're going to be following for this one is a 1:10 ratio. Now, I don't expect you to actually go ahead with your thumbnails and create 10 variations. That would be a horrific waste of time. However, with the thumbnails, there's actually a big cheat code that I learned from somebody on MrBeast's team through a podcast, which is the ability to actually sketch and write them out here. However, before we do that, pretty much what we want to do is we want to take down the top 2 to 3 competitor thumbnails that we like. Then we're going to take 3 to 5 equivalent niche thumbnails down, and any unique ideations that you actually have for creating the thumbnail here. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to sketch all of them out and focus on the elements that you're actually covering in the video. So it's not going to be some crazy sketch where you're trying to get the details on your face. For example, if I'm actually doing a sketch right now, you can have a sketch where you have yourself like this, and you might have something on the left of you, something on the right of you. You might have a sketch like this where you have yourself on the left-hand side here, on the right-hand side, and you have this big text that you're talking about, and you just want to iterate and show formats like this and whatever this result could be. So for some examples, this could be some kind of result or proof, and some this could just be like an income claim, whatever it might be, and whatever is relevant to the given thumbnail that you are creating. Now the next phase is going to be the internal filtering phase. So you've made now a crap ton of titles, thumbnails, and ideas, and it's time to actually pick the ones that you're going to use and narrow it down to the final ones that you're actually going to be using in the video that you're making. So for each winning title, you want to pair up one of your 10 thumbnails. So again, we have 5 winning thumbnails that we use, and the same thumbnail can only win 2x, which means that we're only actually going to have 4 to 5 winning thumbnails out of the overall sketches that we have here, and each of them are going to be paired with a title below. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to see how the actual title and thumbnail work together, instead of it just being 2 separate entities that we actually plug in together. Now you're going to take your design thumbnails, pick 2 out of that winning process, review those, and then those 2 final thumbnails that you have are actually going to be used for a split test that you actually run on the channel, which moves into the final phase here, which is the asset creation. Again, remember I told you 20% of the work that leads to 80% of the results is actually going to be before you even make the video, record the video, the asset you're making. So now you're actually going to be covering what you actually go through in the video, and the pretty simple way to do this is to just prompt ChatGPT to come up with the most effective format based on all the information you fed it. So again, remember throughout this entire process, you've been feeding ChatGPT all of the titles, thumbnails, and the overall formats here. You're pretty much going to say, hey GPT, so I know we're making the video on this. I want you to come up with the most effective format for this video. And again, pretty much here is the actual prompt that I usually use. These are my winning angles for this video. I want you to identify all the possible pain points I'm solving for the viewer, both surface level and deep. Then I want you to diagnose the best format for me to present this information, whether it's talking head, board, doc, slideshow, or edited, etc. Whatever the format is that GPT thinks is best, you're going to do. And also, as you do this more and more on your channel, you're going to have formats that you are more comfortable with. Then from that point on, you're going to insert your unique skills and act accordingly. A lot of the time with your actual videos, you'll be able to just do a straight talking head video or an editing video. And that is a complete overview of the process I use. If you'd like me to do a complete review of your specific niche and ideas, comment below and I'll just do it in the comments there. I've never not responded to a comment. However, I hope that the time you spent on this video is worth the value you got in return, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.